Welcome to the Mindless Ramblings of a Hillbilly Carper Facebook channel. If you're following me from the Cherry Carp Facebook page on Facebook, welcome. If you're new, happy days. You know, you find me on the bank for a 5-day session on my syndicate, Rodney Meadow, in the Colne Valley. I live in Norfolk, so I drive 125 miles to come here. And this is my holiday home. A little bit about me. Carp angler 30 years. I started carp fishing when I was 15 years old, and now 45, so I've been kicking around 40 years. And I just love everything about it. A snag angler. My videos will be raw, unedited if I can. And it will be just me. You know, it's a mindful hobby, as all carp anglers know. I don't chase fish. I fish a swim, and I fish it for the session. I work it. I don't chase fish. I don't jump from swim to swim to swim. I'm too old for that. Sod that for a game of soldiers. That's bloody hard work. Carp fishing should be relaxing, not hard work. I don't need to chase the fish. So, going forward with my videos and my content, there will be, you know, you'll always find me in Tailored Angler Clobber. You can see from my description, I'm on their team. So you'll see me punt their stuff. It's good gear. I've got nothing more to say. Everything I do, everything I have is good gear. It's built for the job. I've had the Shimano's, I've had the Delkims, I've had everything in the past. Everything I have now works, and works for a living. As time rolls on, I'll show you a bit more about how I do things, how I go about things, and I'll go in a bit more in depth into snag fishing. I've fished snags my whole carp fishing career, and on Rodney Meadow, out of the 6 seasons I've fished here, I've lost 3 fish, and each time I've been cut off by zebra mussel. You know, nothing you can do about that. Snag fishing is 50-50. You know, once you connected that hook and you're in battle, you are in the laps of the gods, so to speak. Once you got them clear of the snag, then you got a chance. Until then, you're on a wing and a prayer. But I'll go into that in more depth later on during this session. Bait wise, I use the No Bullshit Bait Company. I use Cherry Carp, Lobster Spice and Coconut. They're my 2 flavours that I use for confidence. Here I only use Lobster Spice. The Super Boy and pop-ups are good for 5 days at least. So when I put my rods out, they're out. I don't fanny about. I have complete confidence in their bait. I have complete confidence in their quality of bait, and you're not having your pants pulled down and rammed up the arse. It's fair money for good gear. So anyway, that's enough of that. I'm now on the 2nd morning. Yesterday I drove down from Norfolk 2.5 hours, did battle with the M25 at Walk 7, Mr. Sulu. Got here leisurely set up. Had to go pay my subs for the season, so I went and saw the syndicate owner, had a chat with him, and then got my rods out. About 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, had a run, and I lost it, got cut off on a zipper muscle. That can happen to anybody. But gutting as it is, you just have to crack on, you know, carry on regardless. Re-rig, back on the spot, Bob's your fanny, we're fishing again. Just put a little bit more bait out just now, had a bit of breakfast, a cup of enthusiasm, yeah, waiting for the day ahead now. So, like I said, as the session progresses, I'll add more content, and hopefully I'll have a fish to show for my efforts. We've got a good east wind coming in this afternoon, for tonight, tomorrow morning, which for the swim I'm in, which is called Martin's Hole, on the Rodney Meadow Syndicate, on the Rodney Lake. I'll be cock on. I will be absolutely cock on for the snags. Hopefully the fish will get on the wind. Everyone's a winner. Well, try anyway. So, going forward, I'm just going to be me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to edit these if I can get away with it. It's going to be raw. There's going to be bad language. So I'm telling you now, I will slip the odd fuck out occasionally. I will assure you. I'll brief you in the gear that I use, how I use it, the rig that I use. I only use one rig, and I've developed that over 3 years. I call it the hybrid. I'm not willing to share that yet. I will do it at a later date, but I have that much confidence in it. As soon as I connect with a fish, I can tell you within 5 millimeters where that hook is going to be. So, and it's a mishmash between 3 of the deadliest carp rigs there's ever been. Like I said, I've been developing that over 3 years, and I have 100% confidence in it. The hook baits that I use are the lobster spice from Cherry Carp, the Super Point pop-ups. They're good for 5 days. You know, at least 5 days. So if I don't get a run, I won't be touching the rods. Later on, I am going to be moving after bite time my left-hand rod again back into the snags. I've just put a kilo of bait out there and primed the spots, so to speak. So yeah, as this session develops, I will add more content. I will describe a bit more in depth about the gear that I use for the job, the bivvy that I use, you know, what I've got in my digs, and I just try and help people develop, particularly for the newer carp anglers, to try and help them save some money, because the carp industry is nothing but a thieving load of bastards, to be fair. You know, you're going to get robbed. Yes, I do have some named brands. I have custom rods, but that doesn't mean if I didn't have the money for the custom rods, I'd still be using my 12-foot Witchwood Riots. Good rods, you know. So yes, I do have the custom rods. I don't have the Shimano's anymore. I've had Shimano. I had my first set of Shimano's at 15, 16 years old. I used them up until last year. They're not the real they were. Nowhere near the real they were back in the mid 90s to early 2000s. The modern day Shimano's, nah. So, like I said, as we go on, I will share with you what I use, how I go about it, and I'll go in depth a bit more about how I snag fish. Now, I am, it's advanced snag fishing. The snags that I'm fishing here, and we're very privileged to use or have snags. A lot of fisheries now are completely cleansed, was the right word, because 9 out of 10 times they're day ticket waters. They don't want the fish to be duffed up, beat up, whatever. You know, Colin, the guy who has the syndicate here, he trusts us as anglers to do the best job we can. He has installed rules to protect the fish. We're not allowed leaders, we have to use tubing or naked. Me personally, I'd fish here with snags, with lead core, 100% in confidence, but the rules say no. So the rules say no, the rules say no. So going forward, like I said, I will share with you the ins and outs of how I go about it. I will share with you how I take my photos, hopefully the gear that I use, and the things I have in the bivvy that make life easy. You know, I've wasted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds over the years, thousands even, chasing the brands, chasing this, chasing that, got to have this, got to have that. Nah, not now. What I have now is for usability of a great length of time, and that's experience. You know, I'm taking my nephew under my wing. He's just started his journey into carp fishing, so at a later date on other videos no doubt he will be appearing, but he's only 13 years old, so he can't just bunk off school, unfortunately. Even though I would have him bunk off school to come carp fishing. So we'll see. That's me for now. I'll add some more stuff a bit later on when I think of it, and when I get my rods in, I've got to change my left-hand rod, so I'll show you how what lead clip system I use. I don't use the standard lead clip system, I have my own. I'm a bit old-fashioned, and I'll go into greater depth about that. I will go into you about the clothing I wear. Obviously I only wear Tailored Angler, and that's not because I'm sponsored, that's because it's good gear. And yeah, so we'll develop from there. So that's enough of me rabbiting on. I'm going to have another cup of enthusiasm, and I'm going to sit and watch the water for a bit, and hopefully, touch wood, by the end of the day I'll have a fish. It certainly is looking good for a fish, so hopefully my content will hold with me holding a whacker. So that's me for now. I'll add some more bit later on when I get that far, and yeah. Right, I've now got my left hand rod in, and this is the lead clip system I use. Wow, 2 foot tungsten tubing, and this is my lead drop-off system. Made it myself. This is the Fox heli system, the ones you use with the PVA pins. So you can use it with the PVA pin, or you can cast up to 2 leads without putting a pin in at all, or you can use the PVA stick. I hate losing leads. I'm not, I've got the pin in, so I'm sort of using a semi-fixed. So if the fish runs, I mean the takes are savage. The takes are absolutely savage. You know, every time rod goes round 90 degrees, hell of a thing. But that does everything I need it to do. You get cut, your line gets cut, line just pulls through. I've been using that now for 3 years. Again, I've been fiddling with the stuff. The modern day lead clip just doesn't do it for me. When you don't have something on the market that you want, make it yourself. I mean, this goes back to the days of a semi-fixed lead, which was popular in the late. I mean, I've used a semi-fixed lead for years until the lead clips came along. I tried the lead clips, and then over the years, it seems to be fashionable to be losing leads. That just costs you money. Like I said, with the PVA pin in, you can lose the lead if you so wish to. I've got the plastic clip in. I don't want to lose the leads. And that's me, lead clip wise, and the rig I've got to use here. Like I said, if I was permitted to, I'd have 5-foot lead core on that, but obviously I'm not allowed to. So tubing it is, or naked. I love to fish a naked rig and not tubing, but there's that many zebra mussels, and the bottom here is up and down like a horse roars. So and it's gravelly and snaggy and grumpy at the bottom, so tubing just to play safe. So that's my lead clip system. That bit there, I will say, is the again, the Fox inline lead sleeve. I just bought them, snipped them. They slip over there just bloody lovely. So technically, it's a semi-fixed running lead with the ability to lose a lead if you should so wish to. While the sun is out and it's bloody lovely, I'll give you a little hindsight, or insight should I say, to the gear I use. I'll start with the business end. Fox RX Pluses. I did well out of COVID. People were poor, on furlough. I was cash rich. I got them for a bobby bargain price. I used Fox alarms for donkey's years. They just bloody work. I've gone away from bobbins and gone back to Fox swingers. I should never have bloody changed really, but I did. So I bought some new ones and gone back to basics from what I had. I'm not a tackle tart by any means, but I will say the ESP bankwear is mega, fucking mega, worth its weight in gold. Bank sticks will drive into the hardest ground, and full confidence in the snag bar setup, goalpost system. Reels, Akuma 8Ks. They are bloody industrial. Bloody industrial. You're not going to bend that bail arm for as long as you've got a hole in your ass. I'm well chuffed with them, and at 80 quid or cheaper a reel, they're bomb proof, absolutely bomb proof. And these are the bicycle range butt grips. There's no way I'm going to lose my rod. With the lead clip system I use, the takes are savage. They will pull your rods in. My rods are going nowhere. I'll go into greater depth about them when I pack up or when I'm back at the ranch. My rods, 12'6" Harrison Torexes I had built by the rod builder in my village. He said to me in the pub, it's about time you had a new set of rods in it. You're the only carp handler I don't earn any money out of. And I'm like, don't need to change my rods. I've had them about 5 years now. They're bomb proof, absolutely bomb proof. Built by Colin Pytland at Broadland Rods. I'll never need another set of rods for as long as I've got a hole in my arse. But to be said, if I didn't have the money for them, I'd still use my Witchwood Riots. They're bloody good tools. Now let's talk about snag fishing. This is a snag line that I'm fishing. I've got my left hand rod now in what was, or as close as I can get to the hole in Martin's Hole Swim, hence where it gets its name. Second snag rod is by that bush, that dead bush there. I mean, and it's kissing it. It's within half a foot, if not less. I use long hook links up to a foot because you get your lead as close as you can get, and then the rig falls into the spot. And then the other rod is about in line with that diving duck, about 4 rod lengths out in a hole. So just done all my snag rods, now fishing with 100% confidence. Just had a fish crash. That's the car park swim there. Fish just crashed about there, so I'm about 15 yards, if that, off the crashing fish. I put a good dollop of bait out this morning, a little freshen up, and we'll see how it goes. Now my rods are out, I'm not going to touch them. They're doing what they do. Let them work. Well, good morning. Second proper day fishing. It's still quiet, which is normal for me really, because I work a swim. Most people would give up and move, but I know what's coming. There's a good east wind coming tomorrow, so today it's all about preparation for that. Rods in, fresh baits, bit more baits on the spot. Right hand rod I'm going to move onto the gravel bar. The hole's not doing it, even though I did have a fish roll right over the top. Obviously had some of the bait and then moved on, which is fine. So today is all about preparation for what's coming. Forward thinking, get the rods right. There's fish in those snags, 100%. There was 5 fish in there yesterday. They're just not having it, so to speak. They've had a hard weekend, to be fair. A lot of fish were caught. They've had a fair hiding, so to speak. So yeah, I'll have some breakfast, finish my coffee, watch the water until after bite time, which is about 11 o'clock, and then get the rods right, get ready, and then sit on it. That's the plan. Left hand rod, I'm going to go a bit further out, 5 wraps or so, find the gravel bar, and I'm going to sit that on there, and then once that's done, rods are set, it's then sit on your hands and watch what's coming. A lot more watching of the water when this east wind kicks in. Me coming in this swim was completely for this east wind. Forward thinking, forward planning. Sometimes you do have to take a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Stagnant time. You know, you're fishing. I wasn't really confident, to be fair, until this east wind came in. You know, it's a good swim, but like I said, thinking forward all the time. You've got to be ahead of the game. So I'm now, like I said, going to finish my coffee, wait till about 11 o'clock. Still got time, might get a fish, might not, suck it and see. And then it's get it right, and then battle commences. Sometimes carp fishing can be a battle of sheer will. I feel sorry for the guys that fish day ticket waters where they can only get where they can get, and try and earn a living from that. Here, I'm lucky, I've been here 6 years, where a lot of the guys fish open water, and they're catching, that they are. I hate open water fishing. I'm a snag angler. I like to live dangerously, so to speak, and you take the risks. Like I did the first afternoon I was here, got the rods in, 2 hours later had a run, I lost it. Yeah, no, that's snag fishing. I'm going to try to set my camera up and video how close I'm actually getting to these snags. Because the way I fish snags is I get as close as I can, or as close as I dare to the snag. I mean, like I said, I fish long hook links, so I want that lead ideally kissing the snag. And I mean, really, we're talking, I want to be that far from the snag, and then the hook link falls into the snag, fishing pop-ups. So, and then fish locked up tight. I mean, those lines are bowstring. So, and then you just sit there and wait for 3 or 4 bleeps and wait for the rod tip to go around. It's nothing better. It is a proper adrenaline rush. So I'm going to try and set the camera up. I'm going to try and zoom in to one of the snags of the rods I'm going to, that's another fish roll. They're in the area. I'm going to try and give you an idea how arse nipping this can be. So, like I said, snag fishing is not for the faint-hearted. It's not for everybody. But when you get it right, the rewards are great, and it's a proper heart in your arse adrenaline rush. You know, when you're scrapping those fish and your rods, I mean, I'm fishing 3 1/4 rod test curve rods, and you're giving them every inch that you could dare give them. And you know, I have complete faith in the rig I use, my hybrid rig. It's aggressive. I mean, it spins on a 6pence. That hook's going in the bottom lip, give or take 5 mil, exactly centre bottom lip. They hate it, they can't shake it. It gets them well back, it never hits them here, it gets them right in the bottom lip. There's no getting away from it. So now it's all about preparation, and I'm going to try and get some footage of that if I can, and then sit on it. There might not be an update for a day or two, but like I said, I come into a swim, I don't move, I work it, and I work it hard. You know, the first 2 days as a rule, I'm just chilling out, I'm relaxing. You know, I live my life at work 150 miles an hour. When I come fishing, I come to relax. Now it's time to start fishing. It's proper tits in the sink time now. It's time to get the shit together and get it cock on, and then we roll to the end. I am wholly confident of getting a carp out of this session. If I don't bloody care, but it won't be through hard work and determination, I will assure you. Right, that's my rods done. Right hand rod is now at about 8 foot on the geophys map of the lake, which we're very fortunate to have. It's an 8 foot channel that leads all the way to the snags. I'm guessing that if any fish are coming from the east, they might pick that up as a gully and follow it into the snags. Now, I've got a little bit of footage of that, getting the cast right, you know, bit of baiting up. It's lovely. I had all best intentions of getting a snag shot, so to speak, of me casting into a snag, but I had to re-rig because there was a slight fray in the line, so I had to redo longer piece of tubing. I've gone for a yard of tubing this time, so I'm proper tooled up for the job. I forgot to press play and I got the cast so unbelievably cock on. I'll be buggered if I'm doing it again. So unfortunately, you've shit out there, But when I say I'm kissing the snag, well, that is how far, if that, I'm off the snag. So that is bob on. That is it for the duration now. I'm not touching them. I even used the existing hook baits. They were good. No point in changing them. Like I said, they're good for 5-6 days, so happy days. We'll just progress on. I'm well kitted out now. I'm well tooled up now. Everything is as good as gold. I'm super chuffed. I'm confident. Let's rock on. Thursday night. Easterly's due tomorrow. What a stunning evening to be on the bank. Bloody lovely. Still slow, but persevering on. Rods are out now for the duration. Happy bloody days. Happy bloody days. Good morning. Another quiet night, but I'm not surprised. This is the bit where I've got to earn a living. I'm on the tailored angler team. I've been using tailored angler gear since its concept 4 or 5 years ago, I think. So each time I go, I'm gonna introduce or review the bit of gear that I'm wearing or going to be wearing. This trip, I've lived in the snuddy. I've been on the bank 4 days. I'm looking a bit bloody scruffy, but besides the point. You know, I've had this is one of the original garments that I had when in the beginning, along with joggers. You know, top quality fleece, thumb hole sleeves, high necks, a lovely snug hood, a bomb-proof piece of kit. Like I said, this is 4 years old. I haven't killed it yet. And I'm hard on my gear. You know, I'm a session angler. I'm on the bank. Minimum 3 nights, anything up to 5 or 6. I don't do overnight, it's more the pity anymore. I'm getting too old for that bugger. But if this is something that interests you and you want good clobber for good coin, I mean, you won't be disappointed at the prices. The prices are mega. You know, I buy it because it's good, and I buy it because it's fair money. You know, like I said earlier on in the video, the carp world is full of thieving, robbing bastards. If you want good, honest money for your clothing, I tell you, tailoredangler.com, come and get it. Right, sun is out, bloody lovely. Easterly's picking up now, it's starting to come to it. I'm confident. I've got 2 nights ahead. Anyway, right, how do I fish snags? Well, you know how I fish snags. I get the bait as close as I can to the snag. I fish a long hook link, so the lead with a pop up so it falls into the snag. That's that bit. Now, how do I feed a snag? Never, ever, ever feed, or do I feed in the snag. I want the buggers to come out. I don't want them to stay in there. You feed the snag, they're gonna bloody well stay there. They've got no reason to come out. I like the fish to work for a living. So, bar a little bit of overspray with the catapult or the throwing stick, everything is on the edge of the snags. I've got 3 rods, all in snags now. 50-yard long snag, and I've got one end, one the other, and one in the middle. And I have baited around each spot outside of the snag because I want the hook bait to be one of the first baits they clap their eyes on. And then once they pick that bait up, I'm locked up. The rod will go round and battle will ensue. And then the arse nipping begins. That's how I do it. I'm not saying that's right, but I can't be too much wrong with what I do, because one, I catch fish in snags, and two, I've only ever lost 3 fish in snags in 6 years. So that's a fairly good record. So hook bait as close as you can, feed in front of the snag, or a little bit of overspray. You're always going to get a little bit of overspray with freebies. And lock up tighter than a duck's arse. You do not want 1 inch of line coming off that drag. You are purely relying upon the stretch in the mono and the bend in the rod, nothing more. Ideally, you want your rods straight to the snag, like dead straight line. But that's not always possible. You know, one swim here at the factory, you know, it's 90 degrees. Your rod is like 90 degrees, and it is what it is. So you've got to sort of like use a considerable amount of common sense while snag fishing. If you've got no common sense, don't do it. Simple as. If you're not prepared to lock up tighter than a duck's arse, and you are not prepared to think and work hard for it, then you don't deserve it, so don't do it. And that is as simple as it is. Harsh as it sounds, at the end of the day, there are risks with snag fishing, but with risks, like I said earlier, there are greater rewards. But the problem is you have to fish risky safely. If you're not prepared to fish safely, don't do it. End of subject. I know anglers that fish this lake who do not fish snags. One of the bailiffs I speak to quite regularly, he doesn't fish snags. He doesn't like it. He hates it. Whereas I live for it. So I'm running at that little bit higher octane, so to speak. You sleep with one eye open all the time. As soon as that bite alarm goes, be it the slightest beep, you know, you've got to be up and on it. That's me. That's how I snag fish. And 2 nights to go. Hopefully we will succeed in the mission. Now, right, before I bore you lot to tears with any more of this snag fishing lark, I cannot highlight the importance of tying your rods down. I mean, these are industrial. Your rods will not go anywhere. I sit there, touch wood in a fair wind, I've never lost a rod, but I know plenty of people who have. And the importance of fishing a good solid setup with a good butt grip cannot be highlighted more firmly. And having your lines as tight as a duck's arse, no stretch. You've only got the, you know, no give whatsoever. They've got to be bowstring. That's the last thing I'm going to say on it, because I realised I'm rabbiting on too much.
And as forecast, the easterly has arrived. It's looking bloody sexy for a bite.
Good morning. Well, this bloody east wind was a disappointment. I've seen more wind from a good curry and a pint of Guinness than what we've had. I've made the decision to make tracks and head home. 4 nights is enough. I'm recharged. I've got a week sailing next week on the Norfolk Broads. learning to sail. So I've got a busy week next week as well. So this is me until next time I'm on the bank. My next video should be a lot more exciting, I hope. I've done all the waffling and all the bullshit and introduction and all that crap. So now it should be all more about fishing than more about me. My next Mindless Rambling will be from Holland, Glory Lakes in July. I probably won't be back at Rodney till September, and that's just the way it falls with work. So this is where I love you and leave you. If I get a fish, which isn't impossible, it's happened before that I've had a last minute saviour, I'll do another little bit at the end just to top things off. But this is how carp fishing should be: zero stress, zero pressure, and the fish should be a complete bonus. But anyway, love to you all. That's me done. I'll see you all from Holland.